right, so welcome to another episode of Happy State of Mind. I'm sitting here with Nick, who I met at a wonderful thing called a peer group. I'll talk about that in a minute, but first I was going to let Nick introduce himself. He's an amazing man that literally went from C7?
C5, C6.
C5, C6, and now he's walking at 95%, fully capable. So yeah, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, I am Nick. I'm 53 years old. 11 years ago, I had a mountain bike accident in the hills above Los Garas, where I was originally paralysed below the chest. I was airlifted right here to Santa Clara Valley Medical Centre, where I was diagnosed with a C5, C6 incomplete injury. I had surgery, and over the next 2 weeks, I was fortunate enough to get a lot of return because my spinal cord was only stretched and bruised rather than severed. And within about a year, I'd pretty much made a good recovery, getting about 95%. Within 2 years, I was pretty much doing everything that I did before the accident. For about a year now, I've been volunteering here as a peer supporter, and I continue to be humbled and inspired, not just with my fellow peers, but also with some of the patients I've had the honour and privilege to meet. So I'm just here to try and help out.
Excellent. Thanks, Nick. Thanks for the intro. So yeah, I have some questions, and then I guess we'll see where the conversation goes. So yeah, I mean, what obviously impresses me most about you is your recovery. You mentioned that when we were discussing earlier, that you pushed yourself to get back to work quickly.
Yeah.
And obviously you pushed yourself to recover.
Yeah.
And that was a strong factor, right? So I don't know, what were like your sources of motivation? What did you find gave you strength? Maybe you could also talk about like what were like the holes that you fell into, because I'm sure there were some, right? I've been on a roller coaster the last 2 weeks, so maybe could you talk about that a little bit?
Okay. Yeah, certainly. Motivation for me was easy because I was experiencing some return. I was able to, every day I felt a little bit more. So that just made me work harder and harder because every day I was able to do a little bit more than I did yesterday.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, like motivation, I couldn't wait for 7 o'clock in the morning to start my rehab. And I was like that not just for the time in here, but also when I got home as well. It became my mission.
Yeah.
So motivation was
making progress.
Yeah,
but I'm sure you plateaued, right? Like there must have been plateaus.
There was a few scary points. For example, the first time I was able to feel my lower back, and I was no longer able to get out of bed that day because it hurt. And it was like a double-edged sword. The other thing is, great, I can feel my back, or horrible, it hurts like hell. So from that point of view, I was basically anaesthetised with my paralysis.
Yeah.
But then when I got the feeling back, it was agony, so I couldn't move. So that was my kind of little plateau there as well. So
yeah, I've definitely found pain can be debilitating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things, it was more of a mindset, but I remember coming down here in day 3. I was already in a special unit because there was some complications with the surgery.
Okay.
And they brought me down here and they pushed me in a wheelchair and my arms were moving. I could move my right leg. And I remember going into the rehab room just there and I saw this black guy with a straw, and he was moving a chair and just pushing himself round on his power chair using a straw. And I just felt so lucky at that point in time that anything I got back, anything I did would have been so much better. So from that point of view, looking at people who have got these physical challenges, mine was a piece of cake. Yes,
absolutely. I find I find that to be completely true. Like when I came here, I definitely saw people that are quads and obviously injured a lot more than me. And I was thankful from day one that I had control of my hands, what seemed like control of my mind. Although that's debatable, obviously.
I'm saying nothing.
Yeah. But seeing it definitely inspired me. And actually, I think that brings around a good point. And we were just talking about this earlier. And I think what would be amazing if we could do with this channel is maybe change the mindset. So if I imagine if you were able-bodied, right, and you saw this African American gentleman pushing this stick with his tongue, you would probably just feel sorry for him. But instead, you actually felt inspired by him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like that is actually, I would love it if people could change their mindset, and when they see somebody disabled, obviously, be respectful, right? But you don't necessarily have to feel sorry for us, right? If you see us, struggling to put a wheelchair in a car, let us struggle, but let us put it in. Let me tell you, some of these guys here are just insane. Like they have, they're essentially a partial quad, so they don't have full grip strength in their hand, and the stuff that they're doing, putting these wheelchairs in their car, fully, self-sufficient. To me, it's a testament of the strength of these people, and it's equivalent to able-bodied people doing amazing physical feats. So I think what your injury did when you walked into that gym is it enabled you to put yourself in that mindset, right? You were able to put yourself, instead of being sorry for the gentleman, you put yourself in his feet, and you're like, wow, if he could do that, I better get off my ass and do this, right?
Some of my biggest inspiration was watching some, at the time there was a number of young guys who had severe spinal cord injuries, different circumstances, motocross, diving accidents, road traffic accidents, BMX things, and again, my prognosis was significantly better than these guys. But to see their spirit, to see the way that they and their families were dealing with the bad hand that they've been dealt, again, to me was inspirational, and I continue to be inspired with people like them who really make significant achievements, and it brings my own achievement to, this is easy, I can do this no problem.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And I think that again is another goal of this channel is if we could, even if you're not paralyzed, and yes, there are challenges, many different flavors of challenges in life, but maybe, if you have a friend that's struggling to overcome a challenge, well, maybe you could share our videos with them and say, hey, you know what? Instead of being down on yourself, look at what challenges are overcome by people on a daily basis, And these are things that you don't even think are challenges, but trust me, they are. I mean, today actually is the first day I was able to put my shoes on by myself. It took me 15 minutes. I got into various pretzel positions, and I got it on, and I'm fucking proud, all right? Hell yeah, found that, So as simple as getting the shoes on, but you know what? It's all about how you look at it. It's all about that perspective. So hopefully we could teach others about this perspective, and this can become a tool for that.
Keep setting these goals and keep making them.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, literally, I think I totally feel like the world's an oyster. I mean, literally, like it's a tragic accident that happened to me, but I'm not looking at that. It's all about this cup half full, half empty thing, right? I can't walk. I'm not focusing on that. I'm looking at like all these different opportunities where maybe we could build this channel and make a difference in the world. If it's for other paraplegics or just people in general. I feel like there's a potent message to be communicated here. And you can see here, like I'm sorry, do you have a family?
A wife.
You have a wife, right? And you have a job, right? If I had a wife and a job, I wouldn't be spending my Monday nights going to a hospital. You'd think that'd be depressing, but.
And I think what was interesting is the comment you made about your cup being, you've got a choice between your cup half full or your cup half empty. Mm-hmm. I really do feel that after what I've been through, my cup's full and running over.
Yeah. Yes. There you go. Pound that, man. I like that. Yes. Yeah. It's not really half. It is full. It's all perspective. I mean, like literally, it's so. The title of my series of videos is "Happy State of Mind," and I am completely convinced that happiness is a state of mind.
Life is beautiful.
Life is beautiful. You're going to find people in the same circumstances, better circumstances than you, and they're going to be unhappy.
Yeah.
And you're going to find people that are in worse circumstances than
Yeah.
you, and they're going to be happy. So
Yeah.
if happiness is a state of mind, I mean, I love being happy.
Well, we
Why
can,
not choose that?
we have an opportunity to control how we feel about things. We can't
Yes.
control what things happen to us, but we can control how we react to that.
Exactly.
And if we have a positive attitude, it'll bring us some way. You know, and we're not drinking happy juice or anything like that. And we don't have our heads up our ass thinking that, hey,
Yeah.
everything's cool, I'm looking so fantastic. You know,
Yeah.
some things do suck, but if we've got the ability to keep a positive attitude and make the most of what you're given, we're almost there.
Exactly. I mean, I bet you that your attitude is what got you to that 95%, right?
My attitude, my loving my friends, my supporting my friends.
Exactly. Friends and family is key.
Helped me get there. I
Yeah.
was overwhelmed by the support and love I got from people. Some of them I didn't even know that well. It was
Yeah.
overwhelming. How couldn't I do the best I can?
It's like the beauty of humanity, yeah?
Absolutely.
I mean, seriously, yeah. Like that's the silver lining, you know? I think it's like... It was funny, I was actually talking to one of my friends the other day, and he's had a pretty tough year, you know? And he lost his job, he had to move to Texas, and...
I understand that completely now.
Yeah, that's fucking pain, right? But you know, his wife is in med school, so she couldn't go with him. So now, like, they're two separate households. And I was telling him, like, in some ways, that's harder because that didn't cross this critical threshold of like people just pouring out their love for you. You know, like it's amazing how. I mean, I'm always touched with the response I get from all of my friends and family, and I also have to apologize, like. Sometimes I have to be a little rude and just say, "Hey, I'm overwhelmed. Please visit me in 2 weeks." But you know, it's incredibly helpful and empowering. I really appreciate it. So you know, that is kind of a silver lining of having the big shot that we had. You know, yeah. Well, I think
before it gets too dark.
Yeah, before it gets too dark. Laptop's starting to go to sleep here.
Yeah.
Thanks for the conversation.
It's a pleasure, and we're always here for you. And you're always, and I'm really looking forward to working with you on this project.
Okay.
There's so much opportunity here. It sounds fantastic.
I think so. Yeah. This is a message we need to get across, and I love surrounding myself with people like you, man. Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, let's. I'll let Nick do the stop, but. Oh, actually, sorry. Can you give me a laptop? Yeah. I'm not allowed to give out my work password.
There you go.
That's
Or you have to
against Google. Yeah, exactly. I am using my work laptop. All right. Well, 13 minutes.